Welcome back. And today's video is going to be focusing on people who want something different in their life, who want something different in their sex life, in their relationship or romantic life, and who are feeling either frustrated with the results they're getting or they just dissatisfied, plainly. The first thing I would say as we get into the video is that we are a generation that is addicted to options. And the clearest example of this is the dating sites. They give us so many things, people to choose from, that we build this mentality that the grass is always greener somewhere else. It's always greener somewhere else. And there is truth in that, but what does this do to you? Where are you putting your focus? You're putting your focus on what you don't have instead of watering where you're at, which I believe is the best solution to countering this illusion of options. Because there will always be someone better, there will always be someone sexier, there will always be someone hotter, there will always be someone who does whatever you think your partner is not doing right in a better way. But I love what a preacher said. There's this preacher I interacted with once. I don't remember the name, but they said cultivate your partner, cultivate where you're at. And they gave this classic example of, you find some examples of when people get married, they tend to let themselves, they get married and they have kids, they tend to kind of let themselves go a bit in terms of like physically. So he said, you have your wife and maybe she gave birth and stuff, and you don't like how she looks right now, and you know she in herself as well, she does not like herself that way, and it causes this rift in the relationship. Instead of going out to seek more validation from outside, cultivate her. You might not be the fittest as well, but cultivate her. And by this, he gave the example of, wake up every single morning and go for a run and include her. Tell her, we are going for a run, honey. Let's go for this run. Because you want better for yourselves. You want to keep yourselves healthier and you want to improve your relationship because there's a rift already. You need to acknowledge that there's a problem already. So I find that a really healthy and a better approach into this scene. And when we were talking with a friend of mine, we found I had been analyzing. I got fed up myself, and I analyzed what or how this relationship game was going, and especially in the Nairobi setting. You'll find that majority of what we complain ni soko chafu is just us recycling the same energy. You need to look at it from an energetic point of view, and I think this should be step zero. In a sense, you need to start looking at everything from an energetic point of view, because if you just take a step back a little, just remind yourself when you're meeting new people, engaging with new crowds, just ask this simple question: what energy am I letting into my life right now, or what energy am I consuming at this moment? When you start with that perspective, you're gonna really just kind of remove that. You're gonna remove those shades or that filter in front of your eyes and see exactly what's happening in front of you, instead of letting your mind give you the run around. Because sometimes our gut instinct tells us not that one, but when we ignore it, our mind, when you just ignore it, even if it's slightly, your mind starts giving you reasons on why you should do it now. Because at the back of your mind, you still want it, but your gut instinct was like, no, you've said you want different, you've said you want consistency. And here is someone who is clearly doesn't want to be consistent with you. They clearly want someone casual. They want something like maybe a hit and run, something like that. But because one, they're attractive and you ignored your gut instinct, or you like something about them, your mind now starts making up more reasons on why you like them, or why you should go for them. So start looking at it from an energy point of view. Remember, garbage in, garbage out, Gigo. It doesn't apply only to computers, it applies to people as well. So that is the first step, I would say. The step zero that we should look at in terms of how we are approaching this stuff. Because if you remember that you're an energetic being, you are literally energy personified, and everything around you is energy. You remove yourself from the game. You remember that you're actually playing a game, and when you're doing that, now you'll be able to make better choices. So the first thing I would say in terms of like getting what you want in terms of relationship, sex, and love and all that is cultivate an actual relationship with yourself. What does this look like? These are some of the questions you need to ask yourself. What does a relationship with myself look like? What it's gonna put you in a position where you're gonna you're gonna be in touch with your body, in touch with your sensations, in touch with your desires. Take yourself out, decide what you want to eat, make that a habit. Cultivate listening to yourself, asking yourself questions before making decisions. Let's say someone has brought up something that you actually enjoy, but at the moment you're not at that space. Ask yourself, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to get into this right now? Do I have the energy for this? Cultivate a relationship with yourself. What does that look like? The same way you would date that person, date yourself first. Because this is a really big hurdle that you can avoid in moving forward, where you complain your needs are not being met when you yourself did not even know you had a specific need. For example, you don't know you had for example, I figured out that most people confuse sex with intimacy. Those two are not they're mutually exclusive. Let's just say that. You can have sex without intimacy, and you can have intimacy without sex. But you find most people want intimacy, but they gravitate towards sex because that's where they think that's how I'm gonna get it. And every time they keep getting the sex, they are left more drained, more wanting more and more each time. But you find that most people, they will go through this game, run around this circle so many times without realizing that what I actually want is intimacy. And all this can be avoided if you just sit with yourself and ask yourself what am I actually looking for in this? What do I believe I'm getting from this? Cultivate that relationship with yourself. The next step will be start coming back to reality. And with this, I say start looking at the definitions of the things you're saying. What does this actually mean? What does love actually mean? What does a relationship actually mean? What does it look like for me? What does it entail? What am I signing up for? For example, the example I gave with the person you find who is attractive but is not in a space of they want what you want. Bringing yourself back to reality will help you avoid a lot of situations that would have just terrorized you. In simple matters, they would have just terrorized you, wrecked your system, wrecked your energy, and put you on a healing journey for close to the next year, which you could have simply avoided if you just put yourself in reality. For example, an example of putting yourself in reality looks like you meet someone and you like them, you like some of the things they're doing, you like their energy, you like how they're physically presented in this world. But bringing yourself back now to reality is this: do I like them for what they have shown me? For example, they have shown me they want to commit, they have shown me they want something I want, they have shown me the values they have. Or do I like them because I see the potential in them? Do not fall in love with potential. You will suffer. Take it from me. Premium tears, you will suffer. and you will you'll regret it. You'll end up regretting it because you're the same person who convinced yourself. You allowed yourself to convince yourself that this is good for me, this is actually what I want. When in actuality, you know it's not. It's simply not what you want. It just resembles what you want. There's a difference between something seeming to suit you and something actually suiting you. So start with coming back to reality. Question the definitions of the things you're constantly reiterating yourself. For example, you have been saying to yourself, I'm always unlucky in relationships, I'm always unlucky in love. Question the reality of that. Is that actually true? Or is it just the past experiences you've had? Some of them, not even all of them, some of them that have communicated that to you, and you have chosen to go with that belief, running with it. Question the things you're saying, the things you're doing, and the people you're interacting with. Question everything. That's how you bring yourself back to reality. The third thing would be honest with yourself about what you actually want and what you don't want. This can start simply with, you can start with what you don't want, because most people don't really know where or what they actually want. So start identifying what you don't want. And when anything that comes up that you don't want, just take the direct opposite direction. Like the way there's a quote in the Bible that says, when you see temptation, run. You should run. Run from the things you don't want. You have identified you don't want someone inconsistent. You have identified you don't want something casual. You have identified you don't want someone who maybe doesn't have this value of honesty, doesn't have this value of consistency, doesn't have the value of, doesn't actually like you. In short, they like they like how you're packaged. They like the experience they're having with you, but they don't like you as a whole. They like parts of you. There's a poem I actually wrote and said, you only wanted me in part, but never the whole. You should identify these things early on. And this is why I advise, and this is advice to myself and to people that are on this path. Take time. Take time before you get into that thing, that relationship, that situationship, whatever you want to do. Take time before you actually just let yourself get into it, and sit yourself down and ask yourself, what do I actually want here? What am I fighting for here? It might look like different things at different times, but when you ask yourself this question, you're able to identify the behaviors, the environments, the people, the things you actually want. And you're able to put yourself in these spaces. Put yourself in an environment, a space, in an environment and a space that actually nourishes you as opposed to depleting you. You don't have to know what you want, but by identifying what you don't want, you're able to move or make space for actually what you do want. You can't get what you want if you're still fighting for the same things. For example, you can't get a solid relationship when you're still fighting for situationships, fuck buddies, all that. It depends with what you want. There's no wrong or right answer. There's no bad or good choice in this matter. That's debatable, but you get what I'm trying to say. If you're in a fuck buddy situation, if you're in a situationship, if you're in a something casual, if it's working for you and it's something you actually want, then roll with it. But if it's something that you've reached a level you want something different, then be honest with yourself and acknowledge that I actually want something different and move to that direction. If you don't know what that direction looks like, start identifying what that it doesn't look like. When it comes to what you do want, I would say start small. Start with building up that muscle of desire. Like we had said, cultivating a relationship with yourself. Start building up that muscle of desire by asking yourself simple things like, what do I want to have for breakfast today? What do I want to do what do I want to go, which place do I want to take myself out to? Who do I want to talk to? What conversations do I want to have? Who do I want to listen to? Start curating your experiences. And this starts also with social media. Don't consume everything. Consume the things you want. This might sound like a recipe for breeding someone who is for someone who is delulu, but you need to have a certain level of obsession with what you want in order for you to get it. That's just plain facts. So. The next one I would say is keep to the course. Sit, but do not settle. Sit, but don't settle. And by this I mean, when you're in something and you've decided I'm moving to this direction, and you're met with things that are not what you want, but they resemble, as we have said, they resemble what you want. Sit with yourself. Ask yourself, by asking yourself quality questions, you bring yourself back to reality and ask yourself, if I choose to do this, if I choose to indulge in this person, if I choose to indulge in this experience, what is it likely to bring back to me? For example, you have identified someone does not want any form of consistency. They're attractive, they have all the vibes and all. They have ticked so many boxes, but the main box that you want a relationship. They don't want that. They want something casual. Ask yourself, if I get myself into this, what is the most likely outcome that I will glean from this? Premium tears, my friend, premium tears. But all in all, sit, don't settle. And I think there's a trick. There's a definite trick to this. And when it's usually when you have decided to be or do something, you have decided, I am this person. You will find that everything in the world, it's as if the universe itself tests you. You have said, I want a relationship that looks like this. The universe comes in a way to test you and say that, Sawa, you want this, let's give you half of this, or let's give you something that looks like this or has some qualities of this, and see if you're gonna cave. I usually look at it from, again, the energy point of view. You're putting out a vibration right now that you want this thing. And in order for this vibration to be solid, it has to be, or in order for this vibration to really keep to its course, it has to be tested in a way. Nikama fortifying that foundation. So all these things that come into your view that are not you, or that are not what you want, it's up to you now to bring yourself back to reality and identify that this is not what I want and move away from it. There's a creator who put it really well, and this is what they said. They said, if you looked like everyone else, how would you be able to identify yourself? If everyone looked like me, had the same type of hair, had the same type of skin color, had the same type of eyes, wore the same way, dressed, talked the same way, how would I be able to identify myself? You wouldn't. You would all be the same. And this is where the nuance comes when you decide to be something. When you decide to be one thing, everything that is not that thing comes into view in order to show you who you actually are. But that aside, the fifth and I think the most important step is your support system. And your support system is meant to aid you throughout this whole journey. Because when you have decided to be one thing, as we have just said, everything that is not that thing comes into view. And being tested, this is where most people just fall off. I have fallen off several times. I have been tested several times, and I've reached a level where it's just not worth it. I can already see how it's gonna end. For example, I see someone attractive, and right now, let's say I've decided I want something consistent, and they're attractive and they want something inconsistent, or they want something casual. I'll sit to myself and I'll be like, yes, you have ticked so many boxes, and there's something I want in you, but do you want what I want? Again, you can't really decide this on first gaze or just at guessing at you look at them and you're just me. This is where taking your time comes in. Go for hangouts, go for dates, get to know each other, get to know each other's value systems, belief systems, and from this now is when you'll be able to make a decision. But don't start. The way you start something really matters and will affect how it moves going forward. So your support system, what does this look like? Support system looks like, one, you supporting yourself. How can you support yourself? Things like simple things that people keep on saying that we ignore. Things like journaling, daily practices of choice. The one I said, playing with choice. What do I want to do today? I made a TikTok video on the play on choice and playing and choosing. We are not limited, but we choose to limit ourselves. For example, every morning you wake up and you wear your hair up. This is what I said. And no one has limited you to wearing your hair down, but you choose to do that. You go to the same restaurant, talk to the same people, order the same meal. You can go to a different restaurant, order a different meal, talk to the same people, but about different things. You get, there are so many nuances of choice that you have, but you're not really exercising. That's a support system that you can build for yourself. Start playing around with your choices. Start journaling more. Journaling kind of brings all those thoughts out of your head and brings them now on a piece of paper that you can look at them and actually see the reality of them. Spending time with your community, people who actually want what you want, people who actually for what you want as well. And this can be tricky sometimes because when it comes to friends and family, some of them would much rather prefer that you remain the same because of their convenience. Let's say, for example, you're a people pleaser. Yes, the people pleaser, the person himself or herself who is people pleasing, they get a kick from them, a kick from it, from people pleasing. They feel maybe validated or loved or seen or supported or just included. But the people who are all being pleased, they get something as well from it. So let's say you're a people pleaser and you're changing your behaviors, you're choosing yourself, you're putting yourself first. This will kind of cause some friction between your friends and family who are so used to you people pleasing. They will want you to remain the same because they are getting also some benefits from you being the way you are. Again, look, bring things back into reality. Another form of support system looks like self-care. And this ranges from listening to yourself, to eating healthy, to exercising, to consuming media that nourishes you, as I had said, as opposed to consuming things that would cause you to indulge in behavior that depletes from you. I shall make another video for self-care and I'll go in depth on that. Another version of support system looks like meditation. And by meditation, I mean meditation with a focus on identifying your core beliefs and values. This is very important because you find majority of why we keep on getting frustrated or keep on coming back to the same experiences, recycling the same experiences, is because of our core beliefs and values. You find that yes, you do want something different, but internally you believe that you do not deserve it, or internally you believe you cannot get it in this environment. You cannot get it through you choosing you. You believe, most of people believe, that in order to get something you need to go outside yourself to get it. But the truth of the matter is, when you come into yourself, look at your beliefs and values and change them to things that actually suit you. When you move from that position, now going outwards, it is way better, it services you better than opposed to you focusing on lack. Because when you move from outside moving in, you're letting the environments or things outside of you decide what you want for yourself. Whereas it should be, sit with yourself, ask yourself these quality questions, move from here moving outwards. And with meditation, with identifying the beliefs and values that you don't want, you're going to be able to rewrite and change these beliefs in accordance to reality, so that now you're going to have a belief that serve you instead of things that bring you down. And this is a practice that's going to take time, because believe you me, you have built up beliefs and values for majority of your life up to the age you are right now, and you have repeated them several times that they have stuck. So give yourself some grace and give yourself some kindness through this journey. It's going to take some time, and there are going to be many pitfalls in between, but it's going to be worth it regardless. Another form of support is socializing and putting yourself out there. I would say practice what you preach. Walk the talk. You cannot tell yourself you want something and you are not doing anything at all to get what it is you want. Even if that looks like you removing the things that are not for you, that is active work. Do not discriminate against it. It's actually a very important place to begin. So with all that said and done, save and rewatch this video for later as many times as you'd like. Save it, rewatch it, ask questions, steep yourself in learning about the things that you want, and move away from the things that you do not want. Don't take my words with a grain of salt. This is just a stepping stone. When you've watched this, when you have interacted with my content, go research, do your own research, because everything is personalized. Curate what you want, as I had said, curate it. Save this video, watch it as many times as you like, subscribe, and share with someone that you think would benefit from hearing this, or would benefit from just having this perspective in their life. That's all for today. Catch you in the next video.